Hello. So, welcome to episode 2. I'm talking in a British accent because it's Heartstopper. Welcome to episode 2 of August Obsessions. And, I mean, you already saw, I'm going to be talking about Heartstopper Season 2 today. Well, girl, please. I'm going to talk about Heartstopper Season 2. I have Season 2 up here behind me. 8 episodes of amazingness. And basically I'm just going to give kind of summary / what I thought about it. Just to start this off, I am going to say I think Season 2 was better than Season 1 objectively. I kind of like the storyline of like Nick and Charlie in Season 1 was really good, but also I think overall the storyline of everybody in Season 2 was better. Like everyone had their individual stories happening, which was lovely. So I'm going to kind of go through each episode, talk about what I thought, talk about the characters, and really get into it. And I'm also going to be eating lunch. And I put some suspicious lettuce on this sandwich. I don't know if it's going to be good. Let me taste test. I can't taste it. Tastes good enough to me. Okay, so we're just going to jump right into episode 1. So this takes place like literally the day after season 2. Like season 1. There's no real break in between seasons, no time skip or anything. So we just really get right into it. So like at the end of season 1, Nick and Charlie are like, we're boyfriends. And they're like on the beach. And Nick came out to his mom. And that's like how season 1 ended. And so Season 2, there's like a whole montage of just them. I rolled my eyes. But it's just them being like, you know. And so basically Nick is now like, I think I'm ready to come out to people, Charlie. And so Charlie's like, oh my god, that's great. Because Charlie doesn't want to pressure him into anything, but, he wants to be able to, be out. And so Nick starts by being like, I'm gonna try to come out to Imogen. So they plan this whole oh my god, this whole sleepover at Charlie. I don't know whose house is that. Charlie's house, right? Because it's at Charlie's house because like Charlie's talking to Tori about it, and Tori's like, I treasure my alone time. And I'm like, so real. I love Tori. So yeah, they have this whole sleepover at Charlie's house with Nick, Charlie, Tao, Elle, Darcy, Tara, and Imogen. And the whole thing is that everyone else obviously knows that Nick and Charlie are together, but Imogen doesn't, and so they're trying to get Nick to come out to her. And it's very chaotic, it's fun, it's all this stuff. And so at one point, Nick tries to, but then he doesn't, and then later in the night, Imogen and Nick are upstairs, and Nick tells her, and she's like, what did she say? I'm pretty sure she said like, oh, wasn't it obvious? Or something like, I feel like, I don't know. I don't remember. But she said something like cool, she hugged him, it was so cute. And since they're besties, and like, Nick, like, she told Nick earlier in the episode that she had a crush, and so he was like, well, I told you I'm dating Charlie, so you gotta tell me who your crush is. And she's like, my crush, it's Ben. And that's not good because Ben is horrible. In season 1, Ben assaulted Charlie. Nick had to go in and save him. It was a whole thing. And so we don't like Ben. And so Nick doesn't like Ben especially. And so he's like, oh, okay, perfect. Love that for you. And Not Puss in Boots. Not Puss in Boots, The Last Wish. Girl, this is so annoying. Just stop! Anyway, so that's kind of all that happens in episode 1, I believe. So that's called Out, so it's all about Nick coming out. In episode 2, Family, this is kind of about Charlie tells his parents that him and Nick are a thing, which they didn't know before. And they are weird about it. Like, they react so strangely. His mom, so basically they're like, okay, I don't know, it's really strange, lots of tension. What else? Oh, I should mention, okay, I forgot to mention this about episode 1. In episode 1, Elle has a crush on Tao, and Tao has a crush on Elle, but Tao's not good at expressing it, and so Elle's trying to like make a move, but he's not going with it. And so in this episode, Elle's going to art school. She's like trying to get into this art college. And she goes to like an open house sort of thing, and she meets some new friends, and she's like posting pictures of them, and Tao's like, ugh, he's like jealous of them, and it's like, Tao, you gotta tell her, mate, like, what you doing? Yeah, okay. And so then there's this whole other thing that all the 11th year students, like some of them are in 10th grade, some of them are 11th grade, and the 11th graders are taking their GCSEs, which are British standardized tests to get into college, I guess. And so Nick is taking his GCSEs and he's really struggling. And they have like two seats per table. He gets sat right next to Ben, his bestie. He hates Ben. So that is an extra, and like Ben's talking on this smack. He's like, I bet Charlie doesn't even like you, like, whatever he's saying. And so it's a lot of drama. But then Charlie's parents find out that his grades have been flopping, and they're like, it's because of Nick. And so they're like, you and Nick cannot hang out anymore until you get your grades up. And so him and Nick they're like, we can't do that. So they start like sneaking out to like see each other. It's a whole lot of drama. And then Nick's older brother David, who was away at university, he is back home now, and David is not our friend. David's not our friend. He is just, like, think of the most insufferable person you can think of, and that's him. He's like, I don't know, he's like Ben. Like, I don't know if he's worse or better than Ben. They're both bad. So yeah, David is just like, he's homophobic, he's annoying, he's a hater. Don't like him. So yeah, that's like Nick's trying to study for his GCSEs and his phone's there, and like David picks up his phone and Nick has a text from Charlie, and David sees it and he's like, oh my god, who's she? Who's Charlie? He thinks Charlie's a girl, and Nick is like, stop it, David. And it's a whole mess. It's the whole tea. I don't remember if it's in this episode or the next one. I'm just gonna say it now. Eventually, Charlie is at Nick's house, and David walks in, and he's like, hi, what's your name? And Charlie's like, I'm Charlie. And he's like, you got a boyfriend, whatever. He's so annoying. That's episode 2. Wait, I haven't said anything about Tara and Darcy yet. Tara and Darcy at this point are just chilling, but we'll get to them in a moment. And at this point, Imogen and Ben might be together. They get together so fast, I don't know. That's episode 2. So then episode 3, entitled Promise. Here's the thing. This episode I don't recall a lot of, because when I was watching this episode on the morning of August 3rd, Abby came into my house and started making pancakes, and so I was a little bit distracted. I do remember there was a bonfire where they were all like burning their paperwork. So it's like they've done their GCSEs, and then there's like a huge bonfire. They burn all their exams and stuff. I'm reading the description here. Apparently Nick tries to come out to some of his teammates. I don't remember that. Oh, I do remember that. Because Harry was there. Okay. Harry, okay. We need to talk about this. Harry is a character from season 1 who, we're not supposed to like Harry, but I love Harry. he is a bad person, but he's really, really funny to watch. That's homophobic, Harry. And he says it's proper romantic. Like, he's just this British lad who doesn't like gay people. So, yeah. Oh, and then of course, I don't remember how we get there, but they're all at school and they walk out, and Tao is there in the craziest outfit I've ever seen. First of all, he cut his hair, no more mustache hair. He's got a nice little trim now. And I'm pretty sure he has roses, and he's got this like sleek outfit on, and he is asking Elle out on a date because he eventually like got it together, and I'm sorry, I'm talking in such a British accent. He got it together, and he was like, I'm finally gonna ask her out. It's gonna happen. We got this. And so he does it, and it's kind of cringe. What was there? They went to the movies, and the first date didn't work out. Let me tell you that. It was weird. It was real weird. So yeah. Then here's where the Tara and Darcy thing comes in. So basically, Tara is like, Darcy, I love you. Like, she says, I love you. And Darcy has stuff going on. So she's a little freaked out by Tara saying that she loves her. Oh my god. And so like at this point we're like, oh, that was a little weird, but we don't really know why. We get into it a little bit later in the season. Also, I should mention, throughout this whole time, since episode 1, Charlie has an eating disorder, but no one really knows it yet. So, but it's like hinted at throughout the whole season. So, keep that in your mind. So yeah, that's episode 3, Promise. I don't remember, what was the promise? I have genuinely no clue what they promise. Couldn't tell you. Okay, moving on to episode 4, Challenge. So in this episode, the whole group goes on a school trip to Paris. Oh my god. Whoa. Almost just died. They're in Paris for the next 3 episodes. So this is a big deal. So they're in Paris, and basically here's the tape. So obviously like their friends know that Nick and Charlie are dating, but since they're like on the trip with other classmates as well, they don't know about Nick and Charlie. So Nick and Charlie kind of have to keep this a little secret. And they have to like do rooms together. So there's 4 people per room, and in their room is Nick, Charlie, Tao, and Isaac, who I haven't mentioned yet, but he's so great. I love him. So they're all rooming together, and then in the girls' room, it's Elle, Tara, Darcy, and Sahar. And so that's the tea. But they go into the room, and there's like 2 twin beds, and Isaac is like, oh, I want the bed by the window, and Tao's like, I don't want the bed by the window. So then Nick and Charlie can't, like, they gotta stay in separate beds, which is so funny. And so they're in Paris. They're like, they're doing Parisian things. But they kind of split up. The lot goes somewhere else, but then Elle and Tao go to the Louvre, right? Unless, I don't know. They go to the Louvre at some point. They're in an art museum. I'm not sure if this one's the Louvre or if they go to the Louvre later. But they're in a museum, and so at this point it's kind of awkward between Elle and Tao because they had that date and it was kind of awkward and weird. But they end up, they kind of like get it together when they're in this museum. They have a lot of fun, and yeah. So It's really great for them. Really proud of them. Um, this might be the episode where they go to the bookshop. Not sure. Also, throughout this whole thing, okay, throughout this whole thing, I just have to mention there's two teachers, Mr. Farouk and Mr. Ajak. Mr. Ajak has been here since season 1. He was the iconic art teacher season 1. And Mr. Farouk was introduced this season, and he was the one who administered the GCSEs that Nick took. And so he's like been popping in and out this season. But those two are the ones like advising this trip. I shouldn't call it a field trip. It's like a literal like trip. And so that's just thought I'd mention that. They're so funny. So yeah. And then okay. By this point, Imogen and Ben, you know, Imogen who we love, Ben who we hate, are dating. And so like Nick has like tried to warn her about Ben, and she's like, she takes it hard and she's like, no, you're just trying to like, what, like, you don't, like, she doesn't listen to him essentially. And so they're dating and they're in Paris, but he's like not really hanging out with her. He's like hanging out with his friends, and then she's just like, I'm here. And so basically they all sit down for dinner together, which I should mention at that dinner, again, Charlie eating disorder, he doesn't eat at all. And Nick, at this point, Nick's kind of noticing, but he's like not sure how to really bring it up. And okay, because then Imogen and Ben are sitting at the table together, and I don't remember what happened to set it off, but like I don't remember what happened, but she was just like, you haven't been treating me very well at all. And she basically calls him out in front of the whole table. Because the majority of the people at the table hate Ben. It's like the people that don't know Nick and Charlie, and then the people that know Nick and Charlie that all hate Ben. And so, oh, it's because, okay, so like Ben and Charlie were together at the very, very beginning of season 1 until he assaulted him, and then they broke it off, and then he went with Nick. But then also Ben didn't want it to get out and all that stuff. So they're sitting at dinner, and Ben this whole time is just like, he's still kind of in love with Charlie, and so he's like, he just has this like weird obsession with Charlie. And so, oh, Puss in Boots is back. The Last Wish. Anyway, so Imogen is like, bro. Right. I'm David. Okay. Imogen is like, well, you're more obsessed with Charlie than you are with me, and that like makes everyone a little like, oh, because she doesn't know that they were together, but like Charlie and Ben know. And so it's like all this tea. Imogen is yelling at him at this table. It's so funny. And then he calls her, he calls her the B word. He's like, you know, whatever. And it's a big blow up. And they break up, obviously. And then like Imogen goes off to the bathroom, and Nick and Charlie go after her, and they have like a really sweet moment, and they hug, and she's like, did something happen between you and Ben, to Charlie? And like, they don't want to out Ben because they're still good people. So they're just like, they don't really say anything. And then Imogen just kind of gets it, and she's like, okay. And that's episode 4. The tea is steaming. Okay, episode 5 is called Heat, and this is one of my lesser favorite episodes. Like, I don't know, it's hard to decide, but there's not a lot going on. Essentially, the main plot of this episode is that Nick gives Charlie a hickey, and they like at the end of the last episode and then the beginning of this episode, they're like, oh, what do we do? Because like they can't just like get one of the girls and put concealer on it or something. I don't know. So Charlie just like goes out with it on his neck. Like, there are so many solutions, bro, but he goes out, and since everyone knows Charlie's gay, but no one knows that Nick is bi, so like when Charlie shows up and he's got a hickey on his neck, everyone's like, oh, what guy did it? And What was that noise? The most insane noise I've ever heard just happened. Anyway, what was I gonna say? I lost my train of thought because I heard it literally sounded like a cat screaming. There's only one other gay guy on, openly gay guy on the trip named James. We love James. He's so cute. And so everyone's like, oh, did James do it? Did James do it? And James is like introduced for the first time essentially in like during the Paris trip. So like him and Charlie don't even really like know each other. Absolutely no connection between them. So they're just like, this is awkward. Like obviously James didn't do it. But that's literally like half the episode is people going up to Charlie and being like, oh my god, who did it? So yeah. But then they go around and again they're just exploring Paris. And is this yes, this is the episode when the eating disorder thing really comes out because basically Charlie hasn't like eaten anything. He's been walking around all day. It's hot in Paris. And so they're in a museum and Charlie faints in the museum. And Nick is like, oh my god, oh no. And he's like helping him. He gets up and then Mr. Ajak and Mr. Farouk give him like a hoagie. And so like him and Nick sit down and they talk about the eating disorder and stuff and how Nick can help him and whatnot. It's very beautiful. And then also, so they're in the museum. This is after Charlie has passed out. He gets up. He's fine now. And then, hold on, it's coming. Nick, first of all, Nick starts randomly speaking French at times because they're in Paris. So, like, they'll be at, like, a shop. And then Nick will start speaking, like, fluent French to the people at the shop. And all his friends are like, oh my god, where did you learn French? Like, they're so taken aback. And so it happens in this episode with Charlie. He starts speaking French. And Charlie's like, oh my god, where'd you learn that? And so Nick reveals that his dad is French. And he lives in France. And he hasn't seen him. Like, he doesn't see him that often. Hasn't seen him in a long time. And so they're like, oh my god. And so Nick this whole time has been trying to meet up with his dad during the school trip. But his dad's, like, not responding. He's kind of a deadbeat. So, like, it's like, you know. And so that's kind of like, there's ideas of like, oh, we should go meet Nick's dad, but it doesn't happen in this episode. So that's basically episode 5. When, I don't know what day they go to the Eiffel Tower. No, it is this episode. Yeah. I'm gonna talk about, okay, they go to the Eiffel Tower. Yes, they do. It's this episode because they're talking about the hickey when they're at the bottom of the Eiffel Tower. And so basically, they get set up into pairings. Like the teacher, Mr. Farouk and Mr. Ajak, are like, they set up pairs to do some France vocabulary. So they can like, because it's supposed to be educational, so they're supposed to like talk French, speak French at the Eiffel Tower. So they get set up into like randomly paired groups, and so it's like all the tea because like Charlie's with James, and so everyone's like, oh my god. And then Nick of course is paired up with Ben because of course he is. So that happens, and like Nick and Ben are just like, we cannot do this. Oh, put some boots back. Nick and Ben are just like, we cannot do this. Shut up. Nick and Ben are like, we cannot do this. They're fighting. It's all the drama. It's, oh my god, and Isaac is paired up with Harry, and Isaac is like telling Harry off for being homophobic. It's so funny. And then they go up the Eiffel Tower. It's with, almost just threw up. It's really cute, all this stuff. So yeah, that's episode 5. Next is episode 6, which is my favorite of this season. It's called Truth/Dare. It's actually kind of funny because my favorite season of episode 1 is episode 4, which is Harry's birthday party, and then my favorite episode of season 2 is episode 6, which is Tara's birthday party. They really make a good dramatic party setting. So yeah. Okay. So this is their last day in Paris, last episode in Paris. It's been going great so well, and so basically Charlie and Nick get in touch with Nick's dad, and they're like, we're gonna meet up. So they meet up with Nick's dad, they meet him, and it's basically just very clear that like Nick's dad doesn't know anything about him other than that he like plays rugby, and it's because he hasn't seen him in like years. So he's just like, oh, he's still playing rugby, and Nick's like, yeah, and that's literally all he knows. And it's just kind of a very awkward interaction, very stiff, and then Nick's dad just leaves. He's there for like 5 minutes and then he leaves, and it's just very devastating for everyone involved. So yeah, it's very sad. And then no, this isn't the Louvre. They've already been to the Louvre, right? I don't know. But basically, Elle and Tal confirmed that they are boyfriend and girlfriend. They are together forever. Because they've just like have been having such a great time in Paris. They really have reconnected, and it's all going uphill for them. And then basically, so like the first half of the episode, they're just touring around Paris, and then the party happens. So it's Tara's birthday. Woo! So they throw a little party at their hotel. I don't know what they got, like the craziest. They had like a whole decoration set up. So it's Tara's birthday party. They're all having fun. I remember. Okay, this is what I remember. So they're like Nick and Charlie are sitting on the balcony at one point, and Darcy comes over at one point, is like giving them alcohol. Charlie at this point is 15, so okay, I guess they're like they can drink at 18, so it's a bit better. I don't know, but yeah, and like they drink it and they're like, this is disgusting. But then, as the title of the episode, it's actually no, not as I'm not gonna talk about Truth or Dare yet. I'm gonna talk about how, so. I'm trying to remember. So, okay, Ben is at the party. He, like, shows up and he comes in. And, like, no one stops him. He just comes in. But he is in the party. Yeah. But then later, Harry shows up. And so, like, Tara opens the door and Harry's in. He's like, hello. And Tara's like, you're not coming in. And Harry essentially apologizes for everything that he did, that was like homophobic towards Charlie, but they're like, we're not accepting your apology, and they slam the door, and it's like, that's great, and I love that for them. As a Harry stan, I do not care, like, yeah, just shut him out, I don't care. But the fact that just Ben just like walked in, they didn't, like, Ben is infinitely worse than Harry, so I don't know. Yeah. But I don't remember, like, Ben is, oh, okay, yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna get into Truth or Dare now. So they're playing Truth or Dare, and it basically just gets a little out of hand. So, like, Charlie gets a dare, and essentially they dare him to kiss Ben. Again, I don't know why Ben's there, but they kicked Harry out, I don't know. So they dare Charlie to kiss Ben, and Charlie's like, I'm not doing that, because Ben literally assaulted him. And so then they dared Charlie to kiss James, I think. And then Charlie's like, they're like, no, that's so weird. And then they're like, okay, well, Truth, tell us who gave you the hickey. And then that's essentially when Nick comes up to everyone and he's like, it was me. And so that's how. So now everyone knows that they're together. And it's all fun, and yeah, and so now essentially everyone is a little drunk and not feeling well. So are you joking? I'm just gonna leave it up, I don't care at this point. Darcy starts puking. Well, no, she's like, I'm gonna puke. And so they have to go find Mr. Ajak and Mr. Farouk. And Mr. Ajak and Mr. Farouk are like, are y'all for real? Y'all, not y'all drinking on the school trip. And so they like, she pukes on his bed. Ew, so gross. She pukes on one of their beds. Because they're like in their dorm room at this point. Dorm room. Yeah, hotel room. And And so that all happens. They fix Darcy up. She's like fine now. The kids leave the room, and then Mr. Ajak and Mr. Farouk are in the room, and this whole time they've been a little flirty, really, really suspicious. And it's actually quite a beautiful story. It's like they're really cute. So this is really distracting me. Les Miserables, do you hear the people singing the song of angry men? I didn't know that was on Netflix. Anyway, singing the do not be slaves again. Okay, I need to stop. Is that Purple Hearts? That's Prince Henry, right? I'm sorry, I'm getting so distracted. Basically, Mr. Farouk and Mr. Ajak kiss, and then they imply that they shared a bed together. So that's all you need to know from episode 6. Next up, what did I just say? Next episode 7, entitled Sorry, is a good one, might I say. A lot happens. So basically, okay, you know at the beginning when Elle was going to that open house for that art school and she made all those friends and Cal was like mad? He wasn't mad, he was just like a little like, he was just insecure. Well, she got into that art school and she's been invited to do like a little exhibition for the school. And so basically, I don't know where the school is, but it's like somewhere not where they live. And so she would have to like move away kind of. But it's not like super far, so I don't know. But she's a little nervous about telling Tao about it. Just because they like just got together and now she's moving away. But she tells them about like the exhibition and she's like, well, they don't know if they want me to come to the school yet, but I'm going to the exhibition. So then they all go out and they go shopping for like nice outfits to go to this art exhibition and also for prom outfits. So really fun. And so I keep hearing noises. So they're all out shopping. It's so fun. That's where I think Elle tells Tara that she actually got in, because Tara's like, why are they inviting you to an exhibition if you haven't actually got in? And Elle's like, well, and so she like tells her. So that happens. And then they go to the exhibition. And it's like really cute, all the art. And then Elle's is like the special piece of the night. Hers is like revealed later. It's like so like fancy. And so hers is revealed, and her painting is called Safe Place or something. Yeah, Safe Place. And it's a painting of her, Isaac, Nick's not in the painting. It's her, Isaac, Tao, and Charlie. And it's really cute. It's a really beautiful painting. So yeah. But then after the art exhibition, Nick and Charlie, I think it's both of them, they walk out the door of the like gallery area and they see no one else but Ben. They see Ben out there. And so, you know, it's a little like, what's Ben doing here? And so Ben comes up to them and he's essentially saying he's trying to apologize. But it's like, it's an apology, but it's very like defensive. He's like, look, I was trying to figure stuff out, and it's like all this, he's trying to apologize and all this stuff, but it was like he literally assaulted Charlie, so it was like, so essentially they don't accept his apology, and Ben announces that he's like not coming back to Truman, the school that they all go to, so like this is the last time they're ever gonna see him, so like if like they can accept it or they can't, but whatever it is, it's like final. And so Charlie doesn't accept his apology. And he's like, look, I'm not accepting your apology. You did whatever you did to me, and hopefully when you can like move on and grow, and the next person you won't hurt like you hurt me kind of vibe. And so he like, Nick and Charlie walk away, and there's this really beautiful moment. It's not beautiful, it's more like sad, because it's like Ben did a bad thing and he treats people badly, but it's like at the end of the day, like you can see that he's struggling with his identity and he's like scared of what people will think. I'm pretty sure he said something about his family, like how they wouldn't support him, so like that, like he's really struggling, actually. And so it's like I do feel bad for him in that sense, but then again, it's like he really hurts people, so who knows. Um, but there's this scene where it's like, and also, okay, I should say the art exhibition that Elle was a part of was like a queer and trans um exhibition, and so it was all artists that were queer and trans and like celebrating that. And so there's like, it's like part animated, but it's like the door of the exhibition's here and Ben is here, and there's like an animation of like a rainbow pride flag like coming up as if it's like the ocean. This makes no sense, but if you saw it, it would make sense. And it's like coming towards him, and then it like ends like right at his feet. And so it's basically symbolizing like he could like walk forward and go into the exhibition and embrace the fact that he is queer and stop hiding it and using it to hurt people and all that stuff. And he just like turns around and walks away, and it's like, it's sad. Like I feel bad. I don't feel bad for him, but it's a sad situation that like had he been shown more love and had been shown that it was okay, it wouldn't be like this, you know? It's a really beautiful moment. So let me get rid of Alexa and Katie. This is so, I got beef with Netflix because why you can't just like stay on the screen. Okay. So other than that, what happens? Okay. Then there's a lot going on in this episode. So one of my favorite characters, Isaac. Like absolutely adore this man. He, this whole season, especially like in Paris and stuff, because he is best friends, you know, he's like best friends with Charlie, Tao, Elle, and then also like now Nick and Tara and Darcy. And so like all his friends are like, it's like Tara and Darcy, it's Elle and Tao, it's Nick and Charlie. They're all dating, they're all like paired up, and he's just like by himself. And he's like, y'all, come on, bro. And he basically has a plot where an arc, I should say, where he's figuring out that he's asexual. It's so good. And so basically, really questionable. I don't know when he figures it out for sure. It might have been in the episode before this. But basically, James, as I mentioned earlier, who was like the other out gay boy of the group, he and Isaac have been like, you know, flirting. Like they've been like hinting that they like each other. And they actually kissed at some point, which I believe was before this. But Isaac was just like, after it he was just kind of like he was just kind of like, he didn't really say anything. And so basically Isaac and James meet up again in this episode, and Isaac basically tells him that he's asexual, and it's not that he like doesn't like James, it's just like he doesn't feel that way. And it's so beautiful the way they do it in the show, and I love Isaac, he's so cute. So yeah, then the plot continues. Then who is it, Nick's mom, maybe, who played by Olivia Colman, by the way. Love Olivia Colman. Nick's mom is like, oh, you should invite Charlie, the Springs the Springs over for dinner. And they're like, yes. And so basically family dinner with Nick's family and Charlie's family. A lot goes down. So basically it's Nick's mom, who slays, Nick's brother, who horrible, that's David, and then Nick's dad, who, as I mentioned, not great dad. And then it's Charlie's family. It's Charlie, his sister Tori, who we love, and then his mom and dad, who aren't homophobic but are just a little unsure. Like I still don't know what their deal is. they're just like a little indifferent. So yeah. And basically, okay, here's the thing. Nick's dad doesn't know that Nick and Charlie are dating or that Nick is bisexual. So that's like looming over the dinner. And David, being the jerk that he is like, basically he's like playing a little game. He's like, oh, Nick and Charlie, like, oh, Dad, do you know about that? Like, all this stuff. And Nick is just like, shut up, David. And it's like that dinner blows up as well. It's like everyone's fighting, all this stuff. And like it's like Nick and David like screaming at each other. It's really good. And then like Nick and his mom talk, and she's like, you do not owe either of them anything, talking about like his brother and his dad. Like, you don't owe them anything. It's so great. And then later, before the Springs leave, Tori goes up to the bathroom for a sec, and then as she's coming down, she hears David on the phone with a friend or something talking about the dinner. He's like, oh, they're so stupid or whatever. And she kicks his phone. She kicks his phone and she says, I don't know what she says, but she essentially says something along the lines of like, if you talk about either one of them again, I'm gonna kill you. Something like that. And that's just our classic Tori Spring. Love her. And yeah, that's Sorry. It's a really good episode, I might, if I do admit. Okay, the final episode of season 2, episode 8, is entitled Perfect. Basically, this episode, not too much happened, if I'm being completely honest. Basically, they go to prom. At this point, okay. Big arc for Darcy happens. And it kind of happened in the last episode into this episode, but it really comes to a boil in this episode. So, it's been hinted at throughout the season that Darcy doesn't have a great home life. Because of, like, Darcy doesn't want to say I love you back to Tara. And Tara's been like, why do I never come over to your house where it was at my house? And I've never met your parents and, like, all this stuff. And so, we see, Darcy's house for the first time, and basically Darcy tries on the suit that she's planning on wearing to prom, and her mom comes in, and her mom is basically just like, you can't wear that, everyone's gonna make funny and all this horrible stuff. And Darcy runs away. Essentially, she runs away, and she literally, like, she stays at a park overnight. Like, she just, like, is out there. And so it's like the day before prom, and so like everyone's getting ready for prom and no one knows where Darcy is. And Tara's like not trying to make a big deal out of it, but she's like, yo, where is she? So that's happening. And then I don't know, they just go to prom. Maybe I'll play a bit of this episode because I literally don't remember how it ends. Let me skip through. Okay, so they're, like, getting ready. Okay, so there's a whole thing where, like, they're, oh! Wait, I forgot a part. Okay. So, Tara is in charge of putting the prom together, and it all starts falling apart. And so she invites them all over to help, and so, like, they're all helping her put prom together. But then, at the end of the last episode, Nick and Charlie came out on Instagram as boyfriends, and so like now like everybody knows, not just the people that were on the Paris trip. And so there's like people like coming up to them as they're decorating prom being like, is it true that you're dating, and all this like weird stuff. So that's happening. Charlie and Tao have a really sweet conversation because they both care about Charlie so much, and it's about how Charlie, like before season 1, it's like he was bullied horribly, and so they're talking about like how the bullying affected Charlie and still does and all that stuff. And then they're like revealing their tuxedos to each other, all this fun stuff. This is Darcy at the park. They're all at prom, they're all there. What was I gonna say? Baby, what's happening? Oh, they're just dancing. Okay, but anyway, Baby Queen, who's a musician who was heavily featured on season 1, she has a cameo in this episode, and I recognized it right away. Let me tell you, I recognized it right away. And she's performing. And okay, so also someone else who's performing is Sahar, who I mentioned. She was the 4th roommate of the girls' room in Paris. Sahar is a new character this season, and I don't believe Sahar's in the books, but please don't. I don't remember the comics at all. I did read them. I've read all 4, but Yeah, I definitely have to reread. But Sahara's up there and she's playing, she's playing bass or guitar or something, which is important, and I will bring that up later as to why that is important. Also, so here you can see, oh, there's a quick, okay, Heartstopper has these really funny, like, brief moments. So there's literally, like, it's for, like, 10 seconds, but there's a shot of Harry trying to bring alcohol into the prom, and the gym teacher, I don't remember her name, but, like, the rugby coach, she is like, oh, why would you bring this here? She's so funny. And then another thing, Mr. Ajak was chaperoning the prom, and then, he was like, oh, I want Mr. Farouk to be here. So he was like, oh, Mr. Farouk, we need more chaperones. And so they're, like, hanging out at prom. Okay, so first of all, Isaac in the library picking up a book about asexuality, and then this scene, just gotta show you this. I'm ill. I'm sick to my stomach. Look at. I'm sick to my stomach. Oh my god. It's so cute. So basically, like, okay, I know that didn't look like anything. But, like, okay, hold on. I think I missed a part, actually. I'm gonna start back here. This is Isaac with the book about asexuality, reading it. I love him, so he's so cute. Precious. Look at Imogen's face. It's actually very necessary that you look. Okay, that's all. Okay, but she, essentially, Imogen has a crush on Sahara now, which is groundbreaking because this whole time Imogen she's been the ally, the straight friend, and like now she's like in love with Sahara, which is really the tea in the boots. Nick and Charlie are talking about something, I don't know what. Darcy pulls up at Tara. I mix up Tara and Darcy's names all the time. Tara pulls up at Darcy's house, and her mom's like, I don't know where she is. They reunite. They find Darcy. And so this is them basically talking through everything that I explained about Darcy having a bad home life and that, just affecting her and making it hard for her to express her love and emotions and stuff like that. But they have such a cute interaction here. And might I add, I know this without even listening to the scene, 7 by Taylor Swift is playing in the background for this whole moment, and it's so cute. Because that's so them. Like, are you kidding? Pack your dolls in a sweater, we'll move to India forever. Passed down like folk songs, our love lasts so long. And so basically they have this little like post-prom party. All this cute stuff, and then they're just like chilling. Here, oh, okay, they end the season with the most heartbreaking scene ever. It's this, I'm not gonna play it because it's a quite a long scene, but it's Nick and Charlie talking to each other, and basically Charlie kind of really telling Nick fully and truly about what happened when he was bullied before they met, because it affected him a lot. Like, it's kind of started his eating disorder, it started his mental health issue. It's like, it really affected him deeply. And so they're kind of just like talking through that. It's very sad. It's so sad, bro. And then that's it. He texts, I love you. And then season ends. So yeah. That's Heartstopper season 2. It was really good. It's really sweet. I think the thing with TV shows is if I'm trying to choose like a favorite season, it's always going to be the most recent one, just because it's like they get more developed every single season. The characters, might I say. And should I say, okay, my 3 favorite characters, which I've already determined, are, it's coming. This isn't, I guess I will put it in an order. Nick is my favorite character, just because he just is. My second favorite, I'm going to go with Isaac, just because he just is. Third favorite, I'm really thinking about going with Imogen. But then for honorable mentions, Darcy. Darcy is like, I don't know, I love like Nick. I love Nick because he's just like, he's such a main character that there's like so much going on with him, and so there's so much to love. Isaac, I just loved his plotline. Imogen is such a mess. She's like crazy. I love her. But yeah, Tara. Tara is like very put together and like very, she's such a good friend. She's so caring. I just love her. So Darcy is definitely an honorable mention. And also Tori. If Tori had more screen time, she'd make my favorite, but I just can't. She's in like, she has like 10 minutes of screen time total, so I'm like, I can't really say that she's my favorite, but that's my thoughts. I love Heartstopper, and I can't wait. They're making a season 3, right? I'm pretty sure they are. Actually, maybe I'm thinking of the summer I Turned Pretty. I don't know. They should, though. I'd love to see it, and I'm gonna reread the comics because I need to. So, yeah. That's all.